Hey everyone, hope everyone is doing well and welcome back to another video. So this was my Tuesday workout where I did some powers, and I have this little setup here not to do deficits, but simply just because this platform here is the slippery one. The first time I actually ever lifted at this gym, I used this platform and was doing some power snatches and I felt one of my feet slip, and ever since then I've never done anything other than pulls on it. So I put these mats there just to give me some peace of mind when I was doing snatches that my feet wouldn't slip around. But these, as you can see, are power plus hang power, and they were feeling pretty good. I certainly wasn't very fresh on this day, but everything seemed to be moving pretty well. This is 95 kilos here. And this is, I mean, the fact that I was just doing powers with all these weights, I was really happy with. As you see here, I was able to work up to 100. And as I'm looking at this, I got pretty close to the back edge of it. Thankfully, it's not a very deep, tall mat that I'm standing on. So even if I stepped off slightly, it wouldn't be too big of a deal. This 3 attempts at doing this weight. I guess you can call it the top set, but each time I tried to do the hang, I just didn't have enough in me to do the power or enough gumption to hold it in the bottom of the snatch. But I was able to power it 2 out of the 3 times. This one was a pretty close attempt at the full one, but I really wanted to power it, so I think I just made it too early. And then here was the last one, but I was just kind of gassed at this point. So you can see here, kind of caught it, but I just didn't have any energy left in me. And then moved on to doing some power clean and jerks, which these went well for the most part. And you see I was able to shift over to this platform, so I didn't need to have the mats there. Would have been a lot trickier to have them for this movement as well. Just because your feet are moving further apart. But nothing too radical with these reps, just moving some weight. I've done powers actually, I think, 2 days in a row, but they were feeling pretty good, and really just focusing on the power cleans of just getting that full extension of trying to pull longer, if that makes sense. So just trying to finish the pull, but trying to just keep pulling longer and not just go early. This is 120 here. I remember I did this twice, and I think it was just the way that I had wrote the workout for the day, that I was going to do either like 3 singles. The way I've been programming these days is similar to like, it's not directly what Clarence Kennedy has in the program, but there's a lot of like straight sets, and so I've kind of approached it to where I put like 120 for 4 singles or 3 singles or whatever it happened to be, and then like here, like I bump up to a heavier weight if I'm able to. So it's the same amount of reps, I just adjust the weights, kind of just regulate it within the workouts. That first power I just didn't finish well enough. The second one I did. Had to work really hard to re-rack it. It's hard to tell in the video, but it was certainly not comfortable when I first caught it, but that's kind of just how it is with powers. And the jerk was difficult, but I was able to get it, and that was the most I did. For a brief second there, I thought about re-racking it, but I probably wouldn't have been able to get another rack or rep on that. Because originally I had planned on doing 1+2s with the jerks, but just kind of changed it to 1+1s as I was working. I then did some pause front squats, which I haven't done in a little while. I'm strangely actually pretty good at these. This is one of the reasons I don't really worry about doing them as much, because I just focus more on the regular front squats, since I usually pitch over, and that's usually my bigger problem, not kind of driving out of the bottom. This was really close, but you can see it starts to slip down there, and so I just dropped it off. And then I finished this workout, and I believe my best pause front squat is probably like 175 or 180. It's a pretty high percentage, but I did some front rack holds here. I had straps on for some of the top sets or some of the sets, and then I took them off just to allow me to be able to actually rack it in a more comfortable position. I believe this is the last one I did with the front rack. And I was just kind of curious how much weight I could do. I wasn't trying to do any dips or anything like that, just trying to stand it up just to hold it. Not really, I mean, like, you could argue that it works on trunk stability and abs and all of that. I just was curious how much weight I could load on there. So this is the most I tried. You can see it's pretty full on the bar, but that's the most weight I've ever had in a front rack. And let me tell you, it does feel pretty immense. So I won't be doing that weight in any complex or any movement anytime soon. Maybe a deadlift one day, but I felt pretty immense, and thankfully it doesn't really fatigue you to do those, but just kind of shows that when you see like Chinese weightlifters or whoever doing them real heavy, it's not not really that. I mean, it's beneficial in a sense, but like the weight you use isn't that, like just to hold it there is very, very easy. If I believe I've done 700 pounds before in the back squat, just holding it there, but it's just not very difficult to do. It feels difficult, but like as you can see, my relative strength is nowhere near like a top level Chinese weightlifter, but they usually do dips and stuff with it, so obviously they do a little bit more than just stand up with it, but kind of a fun lift to do every once in a while. Certainly not one I like to do a lot just because of the extreme inconvenience of doing it. But anywho, that's it for this one. Talk to you all in the next one. Peace.